one. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Maintaining momentum.
It's never easy building something new from the ground up, much less taking that vision and growing it into a thriving business with users spread across the globe. Today, we'll be learning about such a journey from someone very close to home, and the reason this show even exists in the first place. Welcome to Momentum, a podcast by Jotform, where we talk about the technology, productivity tips, insights, and best practices that help us move forward in business and in life. I'm Elliot, your host, and today I have the honor of being here with none other than the man behind the forms himself, the founder and CEO of Jotform, Aytekin Tank. Aytekin, it's truly a privilege to have you on the show today, sharing your time, and I couldn't be more excited to show the listeners and myself a glimpse into your journey creating the company. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be on the show.
It's wonderful to have you. I think a good place to start would be, from the beginning. Maybe talk a little bit about what first gave you the idea for Jotform and inspired you to create this form building platform that has really grown into something so much more over the last 15 years.
Yeah. So I studied computer science in school. And after I graduated, I started working for this New York internet media company. I worked there for 5 years. And one of the things that I was working on was building forms, because we had over 100 websites, and our editors always needed forms to do stuff in them. And there were contact forms, polls, surveys, questionnaires, awards, and all those kind of many different things. And the thing was, I actually hated forms. I didn't want to build forms because it was so simple. It was time consuming and simple. I wanted to actually work on more challenging problems. So I looked for a product, try to find a product that will actually help me build forms so that I can work on some more fun stuff. And when I looked at it, I couldn't find a good product. And that's actually how I decided, maybe I should build it. If there's no good product for this and there's a big need for it, maybe I'm going to build it. And after I worked there for 5 years, I quit my job, and the next day I started working on Jotform. And that's exactly how it started. And because I knew the need, it was actually easier for me to know what I needed to build, what people needed, how important forms were. So I started working on the product in 2005, and then in 2006 I released the first version of Jotform, and went from there. Yeah.
Wow. And I think it's important to note that nowadays we're so used to no-code tools, but back in 2005, to make a form, you really had to write the code yourself. You couldn't just go on the internet and find a form builder. So you were really doing something that was making this process so much easier for so many people. And now in 2021, it's hard to even think back 15 years to what the space used to be like. It was really responsible for taking this space to a new direction and empowering so many people with their data collection. Can you talk a little bit about what the early years of Jotform looked like? We're a 15-year-old company. How did it grow starting out?
So we were always bootstrapped in the beginning. It was all me. I was doing everything. I was doing the design. I was doing the product. I was doing marketing. I was doing customer support, pretty much everything. And it was actually good because it allowed me to talk to customers. For someone who actually writes code, it's actually not that easy to do marketing or customer support. But when you do that, you learn so much. And it was actually good for me to know about all those things. And on later years, when I needed to actually build teams, I actually knew about how to do PR, how to do marketing, how to do customer support, and all those different functions. I was doing my own accounting in the beginning. I was doing my own taxes, everything I was doing myself, and that actually kind of helped me have an overall knowledge about everything. When I just started out, so I built the product, released the free version, and I wanted to see like if people will like Jotform, if this is going to be like a really successful product, and that's why when I released it, when I saw that people actually like it and it's going to be a successful product, people are responding to the product. I decided that I needed to build a team. At that point, like I'm a bootstrapped startup. I needed to build a team, and I wanted to start working on the next version, which became the paid version in 2007. Came out in 2007, and I decided, okay, I need to hire people to help me out because this is going to be a big adventure, and at that point, like I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to my home country, which is Turkey. So I went back to Ankara, and I actually opened my office in September 2006, and I hired my first employee, and so that I could keep my costs down. So coming back to US and then building the team here took a while. So it's just in the beginning I tried to keep the cost as low as possible. And the first year it was only me and the developer that I hired. Second year, like we became like we hired another developer. So it's third year, like another one. So it's in the beginning very gradual. And it's about the SaaS products are very slow. They grow very slowly in the beginning because it's at that time like Jotform was only like $9 per month, and it just it took. I needed to find a lot of customers to get to a point where I could actually grow my team. That's why it just started slowly, but it was fun. Starting with a small team, it was so much fun to sit together in an office, like go to lunch together, discuss the product together, and it's just we have only one product, and it actually helped me like learn lots of different things. Starting slowly, it's actually a good thing. Usually, what a lot of startups do is like they're gonna get an investment and they're gonna hire this 100 people, and then they're gonna build everything from scratch. It's really difficult to get it right that way. It takes a much longer time to grow slowly in a bootstrap way. But I think it's about the journey, anyways. It's not about the exit, and it's about getting. Building a team and building a great product. And I love Joel Spolsky's blog, which is kind of old now, but I was reading that in 2000s. He has a post called like it takes 10 years to build a great product, and that's really it really takes 10 years to build a great product, and so there's no reason to rush.
It's incredible to think that we're a company of over 300, almost 350 now, and we really started out with one doing everything. Now we have entire departments for marketing, for support, for development. But you started out doing it all, and I think that's a really critical takeaway is that you have this familiarity with every aspect, kind of the function of the company, so you can speak with some authority on what this entails. And I think it makes you almost easier to kind of entrust as a leader because this is someone who's done it before, right? And it's also interesting for even me to learn about how slowly it grows in the beginning, because again, 350 people now, but we had one person in the beginning, two people the second year, 3 people the third year. Like that's just that's incredible. But you're putting in the time and the investment to grow the product the right way, it sounds like, which is obviously a valuable takeaway. Can you talk a little bit about some of what you would say the most valuable lessons you learned starting out in those early years?
The thing about me starting out my company was before that I haven't done any management. Like I was a developer for 5 years. I graduated from school, computer science, and then I was a developer. I was coding for 5 years, and then I started my company. So I had no experience managing people. So I think the biggest lesson I learned in the beginning was how to work with people, how to manage people, how to create a great product with people. And in the beginning, it was all fun. Like we had this small office, we had these people who loved building products, and we were all learning together. I also had like gained experience by doing. So the first thing I learned was freedom actually, makes people work better. If you tell people like you have to do it this way, like if you do this. If you tell them like what to do, it's not exciting for them. It's also not fun for them. It's also not they're not going to come up with any creative ideas. But if you tell them like this is our goal, this is what we want to accomplish, and if you inspire them, then actually then you don't have to tell them like what to do, because they're gonna come up with ideas, and they're gonna have fun doing that. When we were a small team, we were like working like that, and we were always talking about the product, and we were even when we were having lunch, we were talking about the product. And once we reached a size like 10 people or 15 people, it actually things didn't go as smoothly as before. And I wonder what was wrong about that. And when I looked at it, I saw that people were actually working individually on different parts of our product, or doing like marketing or whatever individually. And and in the beginning, we were always doing it together. So that discussion, that face-to-face discussion, that constant communication, and really helped us build something great. And once we reached that size, we thought that now we are a bigger company, everybody's going to work on different parts, so we're going to actually divide up things, and it's going to be great. But it turned out that we weren't communicating enough when we were working on different things. After I discovered that, we started actually working in a similar way as the first days, which is like small teams. And even today, like those 300 people, they all work in small teams, and each team has a mission. They have the freedom to decide what to work on, and they have a mission to accomplish. During the pandemic, it's really hard to actually be in the same room. But
Sure.
one of the things that we do is we put the small team in a room together. And they have a whiteboard. Usually, the spaces can only hold 6 people, so we cannot make the team bigger than that. It's just when we put the seventh person, it's we have to figure out where that person is going to sit, and we cannot do 8-person team. So that actually limits us to make sure that we continue to have the small teams, and if it gets bigger, we divide the team and give the new team a new mission. And this way, there's this communication, there's fun. This team they go to lunch together. We give them the budget to go lunch together. And they're always talking about, and the other thing is each team has a single project. So we don't say okay, you are sitting in the same room, you're a team, but you're all working on different projects. That actually doesn't work. That I call that people sitting in the same room. I don't call that a team. A team works on the same thing, and they can just start a discussion about what they're doing in their room, and just go up to the whiteboard and have a really fun conversation about what they're building or what they're making. That's the thing about starting slowly and then gradually getting bigger, is that when things doesn't work out well, you can actually look back and see what changed, what caused this problem to occur, because it's just you can't catch the problems because it's a gradual process. But when you're building a huge team from the start, it's just there's no way to know like what's wrong about it.
Right. Well, it feels like a community at Jotform, and I've been here for a little bit over a year, and we were already a large company, but we have smaller teams that we divide into. We have marketing, we have teams within marketing, and even from my respectively small sliver, it feels like a community when you're a part of an organization like this, instead of coming into this larger bureaucratic, investment-backed machine. You have these pockets of community, and I think that's a powerful management philosophy that I personally have very much been appreciative being at Jotform. And it's cool to see a founder, especially of a tech company, because you started out as a coder, right? And you coded and you created a tool that's really powerful, but then that has to translate to a company and management, and to see you taking the investment to really understand and figure out the way to manage a company that's growing at this rate now and do it the right way is very cool. And I can speak from personal experience, the way that you set goals as opposed to say what to do makes it a lot more inspiring for us to work on something, because suddenly it's something that we're solving. It's not just going in and checking the box and saying, yes, I did what you said. It's, you gave us this challenge. Here's how we innovated to meet and hopefully exceed that. And that gives us that spark, I think, that makes it exciting to go to work every day. So definitely some amazing takeaways there. I guess let's go back a little bit to what we've talked about throughout the conversation, which is keeping Jotform bootstrapped, because that's very significant, especially now at a company of our size, and for as long as we've been around and how much we've grown. It's a pretty unique thing that Jotform is still bootstrapped. Can you talk a little bit about that decision to keep it that way?
Yes, sure. So in the beginning, it wasn't by choice. There was no options to get an investment. Maybe I would if I had an option to get an investment.
Harder back in those days.
So yeah, that's the beginning. And I didn't even know that I had that option. So I always assumed that I had to do it bootstrapped way. And after a while, after many years passed and Jotform started becoming successful, actually investors started coming.
They approached you
and ask if they could invest. And at that point, when I thought about that, I actually liked the freedom we have. I like that we don't have to answer to anybody. We don't have to have this time frame that we have to exit. We can just do it our way, and we don't have to have rush, and we can take the time to provide a good product to our users and a good service to our users, and we don't have to try to execute this this big plan in a rush time or anything like that. And yeah, I want to keep that freedom. That's why I decided, okay, yeah, we are no investment. We are not going to get any investment. And that so far worked out well. And I met people who worked, who got VC investments, and most of the time, there's just so much pressure for them to reach to a point and then sell the company or something, to exit some way. And it takes the fun out of the whole thing. And I actually like the journey. Mm-hmm. There's no there's no end to this. I like having 10 million users and continuing to grow the company and finding problems, finding weak points at Jotform and improving them every day. That's how I see myself. I'm always trying to improve everything. And I'm always on the lookout for what we can improve. And it's going great so far. Mm-hmm. So yeah, bootstrapped. And one of the things that I did in the beginning was I had to I only hired someone if I had 1 year's salary for that person in the bank, and that actually kept me sane. and that actually kept me grow with the making sure that I can sleep at night. Like I don't have to worry about like, are we gonna go out of money? Like if we couldn't grow our company, if we couldn't grow our customer base, then we stayed small. We continue to stay small. And 1 year, if we started like we start getting more and more customers, then we could grow the team. So it's always been like that. Our customer growth creates our employee growth. So we gradually grown our team. And the one thing I really love about bootstrapping is the only money we have is from customers. So our investors are our customers. So we answer to our customers.
Yeah.
So we make sure, and in a SaaS business, in a monthly subscription business, like you live and die by the happiness of your customer. Like we could just break stuff, and we could break our promise to our customers, and they could just leave it next month. So we are always on our toes to make sure that we have a great service, we have a great product, and we continue to grow our product. And that actually customers actually tell us what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that's powerful. I think a lot of things that you said ring so true, because we really do answer to the customers. We are customer invested. I think many companies, especially technology companies, say that they are customer focused, always looking out for their customers' best interest. But it's hard for that to be 100% true when you're really backed by investors, because at the end of the day, you're kind of answering to the investors and maybe somewhat to the customers, but we're really answering to the customers. Like the customers are kind of our boss in some way. And I think that makes sure we're keeping on this right trajectory, as you mentioned, that we're ultimately growing sustainably and growing smartly and growing the right way, so we don't fall into some of the pitfalls that you hear about some tech companies who get a lot of investor money and then some bad things happen, because they grow too quickly too soon. But I appreciate how you laid out that roadmap of growing smart and answering to the right people, which of course are our customers. So I guess, what are you most proud of from a general sense of Jotform? You've talked about how you kind of grew the company, how you started out with this vision, said about the management and the principles of growing it in the right way. But throughout that whole journey, what's one thing you would say, or a couple things you would say you're most proud of?
Yeah, definitely the team. The reason everything starts with the team. Like a good product, a good service can only be provided by a good team. And so it's about the journey. And so we are actually in this boat together, and we are actually going somewhere, like going to this successful future together. But we have to enjoy every day. And when we have like good team members, when we are doing something we are proud of, and when we are actually accomplishing good stuff, it's just so much fun. And it's like I see like work like play. It feels like I'm playing every day, because it's just every day I'm solving some problem, I'm improving something. I'm working with really good people. I'm enjoying working with them. So it's the team is the thing that is most important for me, like the most proud of for me. And the great thing about it is like people actually stay for a long time at Jotform, and then you can actually see how much they grow during this time. Like they start as an individual contributor, and then they become a manager, and you can see that like how much they improve during that time. And it's just so much fun to see that and be with the same people for a long time. Yeah,
that's incredible. What would you say is the vision of Jotform's future? Not talking specific products, but where do you see this company going? What's kind of the ultimate goal, the next step for it?
Sure. So About the vision, I think the most important part is like we keep our focus on forms, and so people ask me like, there are so many great competitors. There's like Google actually is a competitor. Like Google Forms is one of the competitors. Sure. So how do you compete with them? And my answer is it's about the focus. If we have focus on this great product, if we continue to improve it every day, then it's going to get better and better. And people were actually asking me, like, I remember, like, even 10 years ago, like, okay, we built everything. Like, what are we going to do now? Are we going to create a new product? And, I was, at that time, I was telling them, like, we still have so much stuff that we can build. We still have so much things we can improve. We can come up with new innovative ideas. And we have done that. And interestingly, every day, the amount of new ideas, like innovation that the new ideas we think actually increases. Like we don't run out of ideas because like we have more users and they come up with more ideas and they tell us like what to build and what to improve, what services to provide. It's about keeping the vision, keeping the focus on forms, and about the vision, when we say forms, we talk about both the forms themselves, but we also talk about the data people receive with those forms. So we want to make sure that we are innovating with the forms, we are improving the forms, and coming up with new features to make sure that people use forms in a better ways and more productive. We are also working on making the people more productive with the data, because it never ends with the form. Like you receive for example, application on a form, or you receive a registration, you receive a survey, but it's only the beginning. So there's the rest of the stuff. Like what do you do with that data? You can, there's a workflow behind every company that are using Jotform. So we are trying to also make them more productive. And we are looking at how they use the data and how we can provide the tools for them so that they can actually, speed up, they can save time. And that's why we recently created all these new tools like Jotform PDF editor. Allows them to create on the fly documents from their form data. And we recently released Jotform approvals, which allows people to approve, have a workflow behind their forms. And we received, like, on the forms, we improved things like, we added the appointment feature that became like a really hit during the pandemic, because all these, like, even the COVID vaccination approvals were being done by them. So our vision is to keep the same path and keep our focus.
Just grow that, because I think you make a good point. We're a data collection company, so that will always be the most important part, is collecting the data. But then you still have the data that you need to do something with, right? And I think that's been central to obviously all of our products. Even Jotform tables, I think, was one of the previous companies that I worked at. Now has become a Jotform customer, and I was able to talk them through how to use Jotform for returning to the office, and how to use tables and workflows for approvals. And the IT director that I am a friend with there expressed, it's really cool that Jotform, you can do so much more than just collect the form responses. But it was the form responses that I needed initially. So I think that's just an example of one small subset of a user who uses Jotform and experiences so much more with it than just the data collection. So moving on from this, you become quite a thought leader in the entrepreneurial space. You're published by Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fast Company, TechCrunch recently. You're even verified on Twitter. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and what's inspired you to take on that role of sort of an entrepreneurial thought leader?
Yeah. So I've been blogging since the day one. And the reason was, I was reading so many blogs from entrepreneurs like Paul Graham and like, as I mentioned, Joel Spolsky, because I was learning so much from them. And I wanted to also do the same, to share my thoughts on my blog. So I've been doing that for a very long time. But for me, writing is about thinking. So basically, every day I'm just gonna open this text editor called AI Writer, and I'm just gonna full screen it. It's black, and I'm just gonna start typing whatever comes to my mind, which is called like morning pages. There's a book about that, and when I do that, it actually helps me think about like what's most important. What can I do today? Like the most important stuff I can accomplish today, and what are the biggest problems we need to solve? What are the biggest opportunities we should be going after? Or what can I do? Like, and I will, when I start out, it's not easy, but at some point it starts flowing. It's just, things come to my mind and I start writing. And at some point I'm just writing about the single thing because it's the most important thing that I need to work on. That's how I figure out what to do. And this just helps me a lot. And then after that, I will just delete that file because, the reason that I can write freely is because I'm going to delete that file. If I'm worried that, someone is going to read that, I cannot write everything, right? So I want to unblock myself to be able to write whatever comes to my mind. Yeah, writing is really, it's an important tool for every entrepreneur to use to come up with ideas. And I enjoy blogging, and it's a way for me to connect with people as well. And I'm going to continue to write further. People who are watching this or listening to this can actually check me out on Medium or Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure to have the links in the Twitter page and the YouTube page and everywhere else that this is published. But no, you obviously bring so much experience and you've seen so much in your journey creating this company. I personally have taken a lot away from your articles, as I know obviously many other people have at this point as well. So kind of on that final note, is there any last advice you would give for other tech startups or entrepreneurial founders who might be starting, or even just a small business owner who's trying to take their company to the next level? Any advice you'd give them from your experience of growing Jotform and what you would say to do?
Yeah. So actually, I mentor some startups, and the one thing that I see that it's very common is that they are building and building and building constantly, and they're not getting feedback from customers, from users. And the problem with that is you can build anything, but what you should build is whatever the users need, whatever the customers need. The only way you can actually find out what they need is if you actually start talking to them, if you start getting feedback from them. And the only way you can do is to actually release your product. And you don't have to build everything. You should be just coming up with this MVP, minimal viable product, as soon as possible, so that you can actually get in feedback from your users. And that's like everyone has that same problem. They're just they have this idea that they have to take 2 years to build this great product, and suddenly people are gonna start using it. It never happens that way. Even with Jotform, I just wanted to get it out. And the biggest thing you can do is just release it for free, because at the beginning, what you need is feedback as much as possible. And one way to do that is if it's cheap or free, and if you can get many people to use your product. And once you start getting all those people to use your product, you can put like feedback buttons. You can talk to them. You can set up meetings with them. You can survey them, and that's exactly what I did in the beginning of Jotform. I put like this public forum in 2006 when I released it, and people actually started writing there. Like, they were like expecting features from me. They were expecting me to fix bugs, and then I just allowed them to publicly, bash our product if there's, if it needs to be bashed. And even today, like, our support actually has an option to post publicly so that everyone else can read it. And this actually, if we are ashamed that, people are actually, if we are doing something really bad and a lot of people are bashing us, then we should be ashamed and, we should fix that. And I think having that open, allowing people to post publicly like that, it actually kind of pushes us to fix those common issues. So that's the biggest advice I would have, is just release as soon as possible and start getting those feedbacks.
Definitely. Well, it really goes back to the customer and putting the customer first, as you've said this entire time, and it has certainly manifested itself positively with Jotform. Words of wisdom from the man who's been there, done that. Aytekin, thank you so much for appearing on the show and lending us your time. This has been really insightful for me personally, and I hope it will be for our listeners as well. And couldn't thank you enough for showing up.
Thank you,
today.
Elliot. I
Appreciate
really
it.
enjoyed this talk.